Okay, so have you ever finished a book, closed it, and just had to sit there for a minute, staring into space, thinking, what on earth did I just read? Well, get ready, because today we are diving deep into one of the ultimate What Did I Just Read books, Haruki Murakami's incredible Kafka on the Shore.
So let's just start with a wild question, shall we? Imagine this. A prophecy says you are destined to kill your own father and sleep with your own mother. What do? I know, it's intense. And this isn't just some dusty old Greek myth. It's the terrifying, super high-stakes idea that kicks this whole story into gear.
And believe me, this prophecy, it's not just a minor plot point. It is the dark, powerful engine at the very heart of the novel. Everything that happens in some way, shape, or form circles right back to this one single, inescapable curse.
And that's where we meet our hero, or maybe anti-hero, it's hard to say. He's just turning 15, he's incredibly resourceful, and on his birthday, he packs a bag, leaves home, and renames himself Kafka. Yeah, talk about some serious foreshadowing. But he's not just running away from a bad family situation, he is literally trying to outrun fate itself.
But, and this is where things get very Murakami, we're not just following one journey. Nope, the story immediately splits in two, and we start following two completely separate lives that feel like they're happening in different universes.
So, on one hand, you've got Kafka. He's the super smart, well-read kid who has these deep, philosophical chats with his sort of alter ego, a boy named Crow. And then on the other hand, you have Satoru Nakata. He's this lovely elderly man who, after a really strange accident in his childhood, is left, as he says, not very bright. He can't read or write. But, and this is just peak Murakami for you, he can talk to cats. Seriously. And from the get-go, you're just sitting there thinking, how on earth are these two stories ever going to connect?
All right, you're going to want to buckle up for this next part, because this is where we just completely leave normal reality behind and step into what I like to call the Murakami-verse. It's a place where, the normal rules of logic, they just don't apply.
I mean, what are we talking about? We're talking about fish literally raining from the sky. We're talking about a character who looks exactly like Colonel Sanders, but is actually some kind of philosophical pimp. We've got talking cats helping solve mysteries, a magical stone that's a gateway to another world, and this haunting backstory about a whole group of kids who mysteriously collapsed in a forest. It's weird, it's dreamlike, and it is absolutely mesmerizing.
And just to give you a feel for that haunting tone, listen to this description from an old account of that incident with the children. It says, "Their bodies were so limp it was like they were in a coma, yet their eyes were open as if they were looking at something." Chilling, right? It just perfectly captures that feeling that there's this deep, unseen world just simmering right below the surface of everything. But here's the thing. For all its wonderful, wonderful weirdness, this book is also just overflowing with these moments of pure, stunning wisdom. You know the kind of sentences that make you put the book down for a second and just think. The lines that stick with you for years.
I absolutely love this one idea from Oshima, the amazing library assistant. He says, a certain type of perfection can only be realized through a limitless accumulation of the imperfect. And to me, that's kind of the whole book right there. It's all about embracing these messy, flawed, beautifully imperfect people trying to find their way. It's like the book is telling us that our imperfections are actually what make us and our stories whole.
And that feeling of searching for what's missing, it really deepens when Murakami writes about love. This idea that falling in love is really about searching for the missing pieces of yourself. It just so perfectly captures that beautiful, sad, hopeful feeling that drives both Kafka and Nakata on their separate journeys.
The book also really digs into the power of our own minds, our inner worlds. Kafka's inner voice, Crow, really pushes him on this, saying he's afraid of the responsibility that begins in dreams. The whole story is constantly making you question what's real and what's imagined, and suggesting that our thoughts, our fears, and our dreams have a very real power to shape our lives.
So, okay, we've got prophecies, talking cats, philosophical pimps, and fish falling from the sky. What is this book really about? Why does it get under your skin and stay with you for so long?
When you strip it all down, it's a story about trying to find your place in a very, very confusing world. It's about that search for family, not just the one you're born with, but the one you find for yourself. It's about figuring out who you are when the lines between what's real, what you remember, and what you dream have all completely blurred together.
And there's this one last quote that I think just says it all. At first, it might sound a little bit sad, right? But if you think about it, there's this weird kind of hope in there too. The book is saying you can't really escape your past or who you are, but it's about learning to carry that weight and still finding the courage to keep moving forward into whatever comes next. Look, Kafka on the Shore isn't a puzzle that you solve. There's no single right answer. It's more like an experience you have to let wash over you. It's a book you feel. So for those of you who've read it, I have to ask, have you journeyed to the shore? What did you find there? I would genuinely love to read all of your theories and what you thought of it in the comments below.